Oh,
I don't
shit,
think
hello.
did we. I don't think we warned Callum about that intro. It's probably one of the longest on YouTube. How's everyone
I've seen
going?
it before, and I think it's crap. You're right.
That's right. We'll have to. We do concur. We do concur. But we'll have to redo it. What's happening? We welcome the DX Commander. How are you, Cal?
A very good day. You're live with Hayden and Chris, Ham Radio DX and Radio Runner. Good morning.
Listen to that broadcaster's voice. That's absolutely
I
amazing.
expect you to copy that now.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be clipping that, and we'll be inserting that in our next intro. That's for sure.
Why not?
Do you do voiceovers? It sounds like you do voiceovers.
I've done voiceover just for fun. You know. I did buy a domain once, a free voiceover man, and I was going to do, you know, you get it, if it's less than 10 seconds, you get it for free. If it was any more, you pay by the syllable. I don't know. It was a business model that I never kind of worked out.
Is it still up?
Well, that's
No, probably not.
Googling it, are you?
I've been up about half an hour, Chris.
Chris is going and trying to register the domain name straight away.
It's not
He's trying to steal it.
Well, as you know, we've all got a face for radio.
A plus.
Yeah, and yet we're all on YouTube. So that doesn't really make much sense, does it? All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about the 7 bands in one antenna, but there's actually a little bit more, of course. We're talking about the brand new 12.4 Signature. This is your latest creation, isn't it, Cal? And
It's my most favouriteest antenna.
is it? Is this so? You like this one? There it is. There. You like this one better than the Nebula antenna?
I
Or the
do.
Nebula.
I don't know. I don't quite know why. I think it's because possibly
It's not bigger. The Nebula is bigger.
it's not. It's 12.4 meters. So you know,
It's a good height, isn't it?
it's a good height. I think it does. The difference between that and the Nebula is that it doesn't do 60. But you get a perfect tune up at the higher end, 15, 12, 10. In fact, yeah, I use it every day, as you know. All my live streams. I've got to take it. What's annoying me is I've got to take it down because I've got a couple of other things I've got to do, and so I have to live without it for a couple of months. Hopefully, I'll be back up by CQ worldwide.
How big's
Well,
the
what
big
we're
one?
going to do is
Nearly 60 feet, 18 meters, Chris.
it's massive.
Good
So
lordy, I
it's
thought that
nearly
was
a quarter wave. I mean, it's a quarter wave on 80. You tune it by folding the top over just to get it on a perfect match, you know.
Make it fit, yeah.
And I put 60 meters on it as well, you know, and 40 and 30 and 20 and 17. And then all the harmonics gave us 12 and 10 and 11, weirdly enough. But
Is that
That's-
the pole
that's a-
you were
that's
flapping
a
around that
big-
time?
say again, Chris.
Was that the pole you were flapping around that time, wildly in the field?
Good Lord, no.
That wasn't the one?
Oh, yeah.
It's a big beast.
That was the classic.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that was the classic. The Nebula's the big mother. That's like it's like this at the base of it, isn't it?
Yeah, nearly 3 inches, yeah. 75 mil. 78 mil, I think. Probably 85 millimeters, thinking about it with the screw
You
base.
just we've just gone up by 10
I
mil.
mean, it's getting on for nearly a metre, you know.
Yeah.
None of that
You
audience
need
have
a
any idea what mils are or meters are, boys.
I
You need a
try
concrete
and be
base for that.
bilingual.
It's not bilingual though, is it?
85
It's like
bananas wide.
metric is so much easier, but anyway,
I
we
know.
won't go down that road.
But hey,
And-
come on, 4% of the world doesn't think in metric. So that's, inches and feet sometimes.
4%. Well, what I've got here is I've got a nice box which has been sent to me by you,
Good.
and it has some bits and pieces of the 12.4, and we're going to have a look through that today on this very special live stream. But before we begin, I did want to give a bit of a shout out because I spoke to Rolly, our friend Rolly, ZL1BQD, the other day, and he's got a wonderful cause where he's trying to get ham radio to Papua New Guinea with this bloke, Isaac, who you can read the story here. It's actually quite an interesting story. And you've had a bit of involvement here too, Cal, because you've supplied some DX Commander stuff via Rolly for his setup here in Papua New Guinea.
Yeah.
And obviously these areas are very difficult to get hams on the air. But Rolly has set up this fundraiser to try and get him on the air and get him active. So there is a link in the chat if you would like to help out with this cause, and if you can help our friend Rolly out, that would be fantastic. But just go along to that website and read up on the story and help. Let's help Rolly out. So yeah, yep. So we saw in your footage that you just showed of the 12.4. What is the 12.4 exactly? How does this antenna set itself apart from, say, your other stuff like the Nebula or the Classic? I mean, you mentioned about 60 meters, but what's different about this and the all-band vertical Classic and that?
Okay, so the history behind this, a lot of people asked me if you got a 12-meter pole. I don't know why, and I bought 4 off a factory for a sort of a test, and they just sat in the corner literally for about 2 years, and I thought, what can you do with the 12.4? And I developed the 7-meter Rapide, which is a really compact Classic. Okay, you get all bands on it, but it's very compact. And the learnings I got from that, I thought, oh, wait a minute, that 12.4, I could get 80 on and then do all the other bands as well. It just so happens, after weeks of blooming development, and frankly, feeling myself around in the air and understanding what coils and harmonics did, because it's not what you think, is we ended up with one element doing 80 and 30. And that's on a single element. That basically goes up the inside of not the inside of the pole, but sort of the outside of the pole, but is the inside of all the elements. And all the 6 other elements going up the outside. And then I ran it on Whisper for about 2 weeks. And interesting enough, if you look at the big contest stations, they're money band, the big band where they get most of the contacts, are normally on 20 meters. But on Whisper, the money band was actually 30 meters. So it's like, I got a funny feeling 30 meters is actually behaving too good. So I think what we've got is a couple of quarter waves stacked on top of each other on 30. So I think it's going on. And we're getting a sort of in-phase collinear on 30 meters, because there's this coil, there's about 100 turns, actually to bring in 80. And depending where that coil is on the pole, you could have it resonant on 20 or 30. Now, I haven't told anybody this, but I mean, you can, just by moving that coil up and down the pole, is where the next resonant is. So I think it's just, it's cheaper than Nebula, it's easier to put up, it's less scary, because an 18-meter fiberglass pole is one of the scariest things I've ever done. And I just feel that the 12.4 is easier to handle. And I've had it in a 50 mile an hour, or what's that, 6.5, I don't know, about 80 kilometers or something. Flipping around, it's still up now. It's been up now for 6 months. And that's fine. You could guy it in more places, but on the other hand, I've been sent a picture of one actually it snapped in 2, but then the guy told me that had a hurricane, all right, and then he pans round and you can see all the trees have been blown over, all the roofs have gone, there's a bridge down over the road. So I think good chances. Oh, all his TV antennas are smashed up. So eventually everything breaks, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, I suppose the DX Commander pole is probably the least of your worries if there's a hurricane on the way.
And the thing is, you've built it all, so all you just need is a replacement pole. I always do a deal on a replacement pole anyway. Replace the pole, you're back on the air again. You got all the guys, you got all the measurements, strip it apart, rebuild it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you can go from 80 to 10 on your radio, any ATU, nothing. It's just wonderful. Wonderful. It's my best creation. It's a bit more expensive, a couple of £100 more, but we supply more wire and all the radials, and you'll see in the box in a minute, won't we?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I used the All Band Classic obviously for the last year, and I've used it in a couple of contests, and it's performed really well. And a lot of people say verticals are really noisy. You you won't have much success on a vertical, but I've had perfect success on mine. I think I got 180 contacts on 40 meters and about 120 or 140 or something on 80 meters. And on 80 meters, I had it set up as an inverted L, and in the backyard here, there is just enough room to set it up as an inverted L. What I do is I actually support it. I have the DX Commander in one corner, and then in the other corner I've got another DX Commander pole. And so that means I can elevate the inverted L. I can actually get it higher.
Nice.
Higher.
I've done that before.
Yeah, but what drew me to the signature was, again, you mentioned about that coil is that 80 is on, everything is on the pole. You don't need the inverted L. Everything is on the one pole.
You get a better pattern for DX as well.
Yeah, because if you are setting, correct me if I'm wrong, when you've got an inverted L, you do have a null, and is it in the direction of the way the L's pointing? I think I'd have to model it again.
Yeah, I mean, there might be 3 dB in it. But it's just a wee bit of a compromise. You're getting, it's not a flat dipole, low to the ground, and it's not a vertical. So it works very well. The laugh is, I do 80 meters locally on this vertical. And for some reason it works as well. So you've heard me on my live stream quite often pop down to 80 meters on this. Talk to the local lads,
Yep.
You mentioned the noise. I mean, I've actually got, sometimes I've got no difference in noise between this and there's a loop that goes all the way around.
Really?
Ground loop.
A horizontal. Oh, that's right. Because you installed a loop, didn't you? Yeah.
Yeah. And I have the 12.4 on that ear, and I've got the loop on this here, and I can hear instantly what's better. I can hear some drift sometimes, but in the main, they're both about the same. It's funny. And on 40 metres, they both pick up the same blooming noise anyway. So
there's a couple of questions I noticed in the chat. The first one was from James, who says, can you place the coil details on the website on where to place for 20 metres? I think in your manual, in your guide for the 12.4, you do allude to it, don't you? Somewhere.
It's about 5 metres. So at about 5.2 metres, it was 14.6. And then you go a bit further up and it dropped quickly down to 12.4 metres, and then you push it further up and it ended up at 10.1. I can't remember, and I can't actually give him a physical because I just knew as I was moving it, I kept
it was shifting.
It's shifting. I might do,
and then obviously,
I may do a rerun one day and put 20 on the 80 metre element and put 30 on a dedicated element and just see what happens.
That's what I was going to say. You'd then have a separate element, wouldn't you? Yeah. Yeah, you'd have a separate element for 30 then, wouldn't you?
Then you'd have a dedicated element for 30. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Don asked, what's the bandwidth on 80 metres?
I did a video about this. 110 kilohertz at 1.5.
At 1.5?
Uh-huh.
So the 3-to-1 bandwidth must be...
Oh, it's 3-to-1 is huge. 2-to-1 is 2-to-1 is 160. 1.5-to-1 was 106, 110, 100. Definitely 100.
So you can easily tune a big portion of the band with a tuner in any radio then.
So if you're like an FT8 man and actually you do 90% of your work on FT8, tune it at 1-to-1 on FT8 down the bottom end. And then when you want to use SSB, just either click your ATU button, or you might have to use... because somebody who's 80 metres is bloody huge, isn't it? As a percentage of the wavelength, going from 3.6 to 3.8 is a lot.
James, that's it. James, you should really get that up in the air, honestly.
My God, it's fantastic, old boy, yeah.
We also had a comment earlier on too from the Central Coast Amateur Radio Club that the winner of their raffle, which was run recently, the All Band Vertical Classic, is loving it. So good stuff. Good stuff there.
Great.
Just making sure you're awake there, Chris. You awake? You all good over there? Internet's good?
Yeah, buddy, I was curious about the bandwidth on 80. Thanks for answering that one.
Yeah,
I've never used a vertical before. I've always run wire antennas, never a vertical. Never. One day. I was going to build one. I was going to.
It's just so good. It's so good for if you've got limited space.
And last weekend we were out with the guys. I got up at 4 a.m, and I mean, for us to get like Jamaica, the Caribbean on 40. I mean, some people have never crossed the Atlantic on 40 meters. I just got up with my little expedition, a few radials out in the middle of nowhere, and they were giving me, well, one guy gave me a 1 and 1.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah. But, you know, I mean, I had a run of about 10 or 12 USA guys, about one every 2 minutes. I was only on 100 watts. They could hear me. If you call CQ, eventually, Chris, they'll come, won't they, mate?
Yeah, buddy. Especially if you really, really want it and cross your fingers and your toes. Works like a charm.
And call CQ like your life depends on it.
The reason that I don't run verticals at home is, like you say, that they're good for limited space, but the space that I've got is I hide my antenna. So where my mast is, which is just a bit of wood, it's a 6 meter length of wood. I've got it pressed up against two houses. So there's my house, there's about 1.5 meters, a fence, which my pole's attached to, and then the other house is about 1.5 meters away. And so I was always thinking, if I chuck the vertical up there, like let's say I chuck up a 20 meter vertical there, you know, you quarter wave's 5 meters, the top of that element's not going to breach the top of the houses. Whereas with you know, like my dipoles and my doublets and stuff, the whole antenna, it's just high enough that it sits above the roof line of the houses. So I was thinking maybe the vertical wouldn't be a good choice for them. What do you reckon?
Well, if you look at a wavelength on 20 meters, is 20 meters long, right? I don't think you will, and I think most houses are pretty invisible at 20 meters. You should try it. You should just try it. Get the center of the coax, go up the wood to about just under 5 meters, and get a cheap 100-meter reel of cheap any old wire. Connect that to the braid and put it up and down each side. Your receive might be a bit crappy, but I bet your transmit's good. Yeah,
that's the thing. You're always fighting. I mean, I'm more worried about receive noise, lack of managing receive noise.
That's why I run a lot of radio. Even a 7300, there's a little hack, isn't there, where you can put a receive jack in the back.
Oh, yeah, to run too. Yeah.
And then you go, you know, and then around the backyard or your back garden or whatever, you could run a little low to the ground, you know, just 30 centimetres, 1 foot off the ground. Any old length, maybe a 4-to-1 balance. I mean, you don't want your coax picking up your noise. And you transmit on your vertical and receive on a dedicated loop.
Yeah, I used to do that. I used to have an inverted V dipole, which was my main antenna. And the problem is that for some reason I just picked up so much noise on the thing. And this was years ago, and I never got down to actually tracking what the noise was. I think it was the next door neighbour's plasma television. But we had plenty of room. I actually had it was on my parents' rural property, so we had plenty of room. So I set up a full wave 80-metre loop. And that thing was brilliant on receive, like absolutely no noise, but terrible on transmit, absolutely terrible. Yeah. So I'd have to manually switch between the two antennas, which wasn't too much of a problem. But yeah, I guess everything's a compromise, sort of.
Yeah, you're just receiving on the vertical. You're just using the same. You're just using the commander for everything. Hayden, just receive TX and receive.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, noise levels here. Like I'm in suburbia, and noise levels here on like 80 meters is relatively bad. It's about, well, it is nominally about S8, S7, S8, but actually when we had the contest, it was even during sort of like 7, 8 o'clock at night when everyone's still awake, it was actually pretty reasonable. It was only about S5. It was pretty good that night. 40 meters is about a little bit better. And then once you get up to 20 meters, the noise level pretty much just disappears, and I don't have much noise from 20 meters and above. So 30 meters is the same. I don't really have much noise either. And then once you get up to 10 meters, you have to start turning the preamps on in the radio to actually find out if your antenna is connected or not.
I know.
Yeah, it's really quiet.
That's spookily accurate. That sound.
Actually,
Yeah.
that's part of Darth Vader.
No, that is CW with a 200 hertz filter on it, I think.
Yeah,
didn't know that
noise isn't the problem on C-dubs, but it is on SSB.
I didn't know that UK had a Darth Vader. That's amazing. You really did do voiceovers.
Once you got a microphone, you can hear what you're doing. You can sort of just muck around, can't you? And they're in the kitchen. I got the door open, and I'm like testing 1, 2, 3, testing, and then I've looked around. All three of them are standing there laughing because I'm doing some daft thing. I'm pretending I'm Jason from Ham Radio 2.0 or something.
Kawana has just come up with the name of your new. You might get sued of your new antenna.
The DX Vader, lovely.
You might. That's the dark side of the. That's the dark side of ham radio. Very good. All right. Well, while we keep chatting, let's open this box, eh? We should do that. I can actually go full screen, but talk amongst yourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was just saying
the quick
offline.
brown fox jumps over the lazy dog.
Why does everyone say testing 1, 2, 3? Everyone says that, don't they? I was just saying, I hope that my address is not in here.
No, it's not. Excuse me. So, Hayden, this box is the heavy, smaller box, isn't it?
Yes. So there's two boxes. So this is one box, and then there's another long box, which is obviously the pole, which I can open as well, but I'll have to change camera angles.
I've never seen this live. Ooh.
Haven't you? I've
never seen someone else opening the box that Lockie packs. Oh, yes.
This would be a treat for you. Look at this. Oh, it's all shrinked in this plastic. Look at it. So, and have a look at this. This you can guarantee. Look, it's been checked by Wendy. Wendy checked it, so it must be right.
Yeah, other than the fact that she makes mistakes, but we all do, you know.
So in here we've got the nuts, bolts, washers for the bottom driven plate and the radial plates.
That's
the fork connectors. What else is in here? The paracord, tubing, cable ties. I've noticed, and I'm not sure if you still do this or not because you did it in my classic. You still put a couple of extra bits in here just in case you lose some bolts in the grass, right?
Yeah. There's normally at least one of everything more than you need.
Yep. Because I've still got spares. Oh, these are new, aren't they?
Right. That's an extra goodie pack for you.
Yes.
So that's about a £20 extra. So these are ground pins to hold your radials in place and make them disappear in a couple of weeks.
So you pin your radials to the ground and the grass grows over the top of them.
That's it. I mean, you don't have to, but you could put them on eBay. One lady owner, as Chris would say.
Careful. You've got to add careful, mate.
Careful, lady owner. All right.
Careful.
What's this? Oh, yes, Lockie's little SO239 pack. Stickers and a QSL card, signed by me.
I've got one of these. These are good. Is there two of them in there? What's the other thing? Must be the... Is this the...
Destructions.
Does it cut... Now, I know that there's been also a lot of debate over the years of why these don't come with printed instructions on paper.
Yeah, now, we copied MFJ and put it online.
Yeah, it's much easier. What I did was when I built my All Band Classic, I just printed it off on the printer. And
that's right.
It saves on the you'd spend a stack load on paper having to print all that. It'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, and then nobody would look at it anyway.
Yep. Here we go. So this is familiar. Let me go back here. This is familiar. The instructions that say that you're going to have the most efficient QRO antenna system on the planet.
Yeah.
Which is true. It's really good. It really is good. And
I can't remember what else is in this box. Oh, yeah.
XXT. Yeah, there you go. Personally signed.
I signed it. That is my own Sharpie. It's my own Sharpie days. Yeah, I use a regular Sharpie.
That is legit. That'll be worth a bit on eBay.
It's not printed. It's actually hand done by Uncle Callum.
Now, I this wire is unbelievable. This is the DX10, isn't it? Yeah, the DX10 wire.
Made
This
in
wire,
England.
and I think I've told you about this before, Chris. This wire is the best wire that I've ever used. It doesn't get tangled. It doesn't. It's got that funny. What's the word on the
Jacket,
the
sleeve.
Yeah, on the jacket. Yeah, it just you know how some wire sticks and it just gets all bundled up. This stuff doesn't, and I think you've explained why it doesn't. It's something to do with the manufacturing, isn't it, Cal?
Yes, it's pliable down to -40, and I think so. It's what they call Arctic grade. But there's some magic they put in that PVC, and it just falls apart. I don't understand. And it's very difficult for me to find. Well, I have actually found a second supplier in the UK that guarantee they can make it identical. And I think that is because originally that wire was a military wire. So there'll be a military specification to it somewhere. I have got the spec. But the actual composition, the molecular composition of the jacket, two manufacturers have got.
Just opening it up so we can show you. So each one of these reels is 100 meters, yeah. So there's plenty for all of your elements and all of your radials.
Oh God, yeah.
Is there enough? Is there enough wire for the extra radials that you need for 80 meters?
Oh, good Lord, yeah, plenty.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll only need half a reel for your elements. So you've got 250, 430. You've got three wavelengths, 3 8 24. Yeah, you've got three wavelengths at 80, 6 wavelengths on 40.
Yep.
You've got 12 wavelengths on the 20 meter band. It's an insane amount of wire.
The plates. Of course, the plates. Wow, these are a lot bigger than the classic plates.
They are dinner plates, aren't they?
Wow, these are fantastic. Look at that.
Slightly big.
You've changed the design. They're not round anymore. They're sort of hexagon.
The reason for the hex is so we don't get confused. We can identify that straight away as a signature 12.4 plate.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Very, very good. And then I'm assuming that these are
There's another plate in there, the biggest plate.
Ah, yeah. So this is the bottom one, yeah?
Yeah. Now, the driven plate, which is the one underneath with the tab on it, you may just check because some poles are like 0.1 millimeter bigger than they should be. And as you put the driven plate, not the ground plate, as you slip that over the top, you go halfway down, it might stop, right? So I tell people, I think in the user guide, you might use a little round file to go around the inside just to take 0.1 of a millimeter off. The next time I make these plates, we'll make them 0.1 of a millimeter bigger, just so you don't scratch the paint on the way down. That's all it is.
Yeah, just doing a welfare check. You all good? All good? Yep.
No.
Yep.
No, I'm dying on the inside.
Bye, Chris.
Keep opening.
You don't have to. Do you have to head off soon? Because I know that you had to.
I will shortly, bro.
Yeah. Just let me know. Don't let us just keep on going on. So these are the Jubilee clips, otherwise known as hose clamps. We call them hose clamps here.
We call them hose clamps. I don't know why British people call them Jubilee. Have you got some rubber tubing in the other bag, is it?
Yes.
Or plastic PVC tubing?
Yes. Yep. So that rubber tubing is to go around the hose clamp so that you don't crush the pole.
Dismantle all the hose clamps. Some people find it a terrible problem putting that hose on. That's because they're not flattening the end of the hose clamp straight, just so it goes straight in. Just bend it back again.
Yeah. It's and you can heat that up in hot water if you need it to be more malleable to get the hose clamp in. So it's interesting once you build the when I built the All Band Classic, because I did the build video, so it took me a little bit of time because I had to film.
Okay.
But once I did the build video, then I moved house and I put it back together again. It hardly took me any time at all to put back together because it was once you know how they go together, it's really easy. But I think that we're going to do a build video of this antenna, of course. So that'll be coming up, which will be good. And then we got the pole.
Oh,
Indeed.
We may as well. We'll open up the pole.
I'm just showing you on this little bit. Even the bottom driven plate, you just screw it on nice and.
Nice and
Yeah, I actually
yeah.
wanted to make everything a really tight fit, but I think I may have overcooked the driven plate by a whisker.
that's okay.
All right. Oh, I hope this is very scary. This is huge, man. You're not going to quite
You don't
believe
normally.
this.
You're not on the receiving end of this usually,
No,
are you? You're the
this
one
is
just packing.
genuinely.
This-
You feel the weight of this. You go, my goodness, what the hell have I got here?
Look, it's fine because if someone's stuffed up, it's Lockie's fault. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, good point.
No,
Feel
he
the
does,
weight
he
of
does
that.
He does a fantastic job, Lockie. Oh, this looks a bit dodgy, doesn't it? Hang on, just let me remove
That's
my
a long one.
protection. Let me, yeah. Just
That's it
remove
keeps
my
the
protection.
RF in, you see.
Oh, that's a different cap. This is a
It's
top
a different
cap.
cap. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. That's
Turn it upside down and show us the base. Look at the
Yeah.
size of that.
it's like a bloody
That's-
bazooka, boys.
That's a
This
beautiful
is- this-
moulding as well.
This is a big mother. Actually, so feeling the weight of this combined with the plates, because obviously this is heavy. This is heavy duty. I know that you've got in your manual. You talk about tilt over masts. How hard is it to put this up by yourself?
Oh, well, I'm 63 and I just put it up. The only reason I put a tilt over in is because mine. I do development. It's going up and down like a blooming yo-yo.
So
that's
the
the-
top sections. A lot
That's the
thicker
final
than
section. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a lot thicker than the All Band Classic because that's really thin and whips around quite a bit.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Aaron says
Somebody wants to know how long it took. That's an interesting question. I can't remember.
It took.
10 days?
It arrived on the 8th of the 8th.
No. It arrived on the 8th because Chris saw it on the label, and I could tell you when it was sent. So it was. No, hang on. Was it sent on the 8th? Let me just talk amongst yourselves, and I'll figure it out.
The quick man fox jumps over the lazy dog.
So a strong 62-year-old can put it up on their own. But what about a weaker Tasmanian, Callum? Like, you think he's going to need? Will he need the missus?
Frankly, someone's going to have to give him a hand. Yeah.
I'm going to have to get the guys around from the club to help me, I reckon.
He'll be fine.
You'll need 4 to stand around doing nothing at least, as is customary.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just like council workers then.
Yeah.
I'm
Get
just
the
showing
high vis
little
on.
cutaways on the video for fun, rather than looking
yes.
at my mug.
Okay, so it was shipped on the 2nd of August, and it arrived on the 10th of August. So 8 days.
Okay.
Holy moly.
8
That's
days.
ripping fast.
Yeah. Yep. Actual delivery was 2:00 in the afternoon, and Lockie sent me the message to say, not Lockie, FedEx. FedEx said that it was picked up at 10, or it says 10 p.m. my time. So technically it wasn't really 8 days. It was actually a little bit less. So,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, whatever. It's not 2 months,
no.
In the main, it's under a week for anybody, really.
So how many
the
sections
main.
are in here? 1, 2, 3,
12.
4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah. Very, very nice. Better make sure I don't hit the roof. Look at that. I hope you can see that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah. This is, and I notice in your manual you say that you got to give these a firm pull once you get them out so that you can get it over the full
I
length,
developed
yeah?
it over the last couple of months. Actually, what I do is, if you just put me back on the screen, I build it horizontally across a couple of chairs or something, and I'm now doing like a half twist and a pull, if you know what I mean. And that's it, a quarter twist and a pull, and that's it. That's perfect. That's
This
all I
is,
wanted to say on that. I didn't need the whole screen, but, thanks, Hayden. Thanks, Hayden. I'm Radio DX and Radio Runner Chris.
So now, when I mentioned about this going in the backyard, not to the missus because she doesn't know it yet, but don't tell her.
Okay.
This is going to be about 12.4. It's going to be about 3.4 meters higher than the all band vertical. Because the all band vertical is 9
10,
meters.
11, 12. Yeah, it's about 3 meters, 3 and a bit meters. Yeah.
Yep. This will. I'm going to have to put more guys on this, and because I have a fairly small area, is there a problem if I guy it? I put quite a few. How many guys would you say it needs? And does having a strong angle on the guys, is that going to be a problem?
No, the tighter the angle, the greater the pull down, if you know what I mean. What would I do if I had a tighter angle? Because I'm going at the middle guy point at the moment. If I was doing 2, I would do it slightly lighter. I mean, mine, as the wind blows, definitely one of my guys goes slack, right? So they're not so tight that the whole thing is pulling down on itself too hard. I let it move around a bit. So, yeah.
A little bit of movement is fine.
A little bit of movement. Yeah. I mean, if you could do 4 meters radius, be fine. If not, you could probably go down to 3 and guy at the 2nd and the 4th, something like that.
Well, I might actually be able to shift the antenna to a slightly better spot now because because where I placed the antenna before, it was purely so that the inverted L could go in a certain spot in the garden.
Right.
Whereas now I could probably shift this to the other point of the garden, where there's more room, more radius. Of course, the neighbours will be able to see it more, but we won't worry about them. That'll be fine.
What's the max height?
I would do it. I would off-centre it in the backyard, the back garden, or whatever, so you can easily lay it down if you have to. Like you got a major storm coming out. You might as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We do get quite a few winds. What did you say? What's the maximum height?
Yeah, residential height for your bits and pieces in Tasmania.
So the maximum height here is that the antennas can be 6 meters above the highest point of attachment. So if 6 meters is from the ground, that means 6 meters from the ground. If you've got it attached to a building, now they don't specify what an attachment is, but it's 6 meters from the highest point of attachment.
Right, in which case you take a really little guy line and you attach that to the house at the 6 meter point.
Yep, that's exactly what you do. But in this case, it's going to be the case of put it up and wait until someone complains.
Put it up, take it down, put it up, take it down a few times, and then people go, "Oh, he's changed it again," whatever. They eventually gave up with me here. When it was my hobby. Now I'd be putting stuff up to start with. There'd be knocks on the door, letters from the planning people, the housing people, and all that sort of stuff. And literally after about a couple of years, people felt, they just stopped worrying about it because they knew it was always going to come down and put someone else up.
I've found that with neighbours, rather than, some people are courteous and they'll go and tell them what they're doing, but generally I've found that if you just put the antenna up and they ask about it, that's fine. But I find that if you say, "Hey, I'm going to be putting up this antenna in my backyard," all of a sudden the brakes go on and they're like, no, I don't want that. How big is it going to be, etc. Whereas if you go and put it up, and I don't. Not in every situation. It'll be different in every situation. But in most of the situations, I've found people have just gone, and then they've gotten used to it after a while. They don't worry anymore.
I asked and got permission from mine, so that's okay. I'm just a better person than you was.
You're just a nice guy. Fine. Yeah, you're just a top bloke.
Don't feel bad for me.
I just thought I'd show you a little bit of the coil here and focus actually on this little knot here. So it's worthwhile just quickly discussing that we use stopper knots now, not those little carabiners, Hayden.
Yeah. That's I noticed that was detailed in the manual, so that works just as well.
I basically copied the military people. I'll see if I've got a better shot of that somewhere. It's in the manual anyway, isn't it?
I think, Chris, you're getting a bit of vertical envy right now, aren't you? You're seriously considering a vertical.
This is me trying to explain it. Look. Yeah. Okay. But the military people use a lot of knots and loops and stuff. It saves on the hardware, and bits break, but knots don't. Done well. And then what I did, by the way, is I've just recently gone out with my either a hot air gun or a little tiny torch, little hobby flame thing.
Butane torch.
And I just little blue, and I just blasted these for a couple of seconds, and it tidied all the knots up nicely. But I just did that last week.
Yeah, that's one thing that I didn't do on mine, and you saw my video, and you were like, "Oh, you need to clean up those knots because they're all frayed."
Nice little sharp cut, and then. Actually, I've never done a blowtorch, Chris.
Well, actually,
that must be a British blowtorch, mate. I'm sure
it was running out. That one was running out, wasn't it?
That's the one with the gas. It needs gas in it.
That was better.
You need a
Hayden's
bit of.
got it. It's a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Everybody at home is now
Hang on.
practicing.
Do you want to what was that? What did you just mouth? I didn't quite catch that.
Bonjour.
Love me.
Oh, right.
You do realise that everybody at home is actually practicing a blowtorch noise.
Yeah.
Send your blowtorch noise in.
Bemmy has a great idea. Buy the 18-metre pole, put it up and apologise, and then change it to the 12. Fantastic. That's what you need to do.
There's Lee. I've got to say hello to Lee. I do like Lee.
Lightning matches outside the breeze is always a challenge. Yes. So I'll put this together. It is winter at the moment, so we're a little bit pressed with weather's a bit crappy at the moment. But over the next couple of weeks and the couple of months that are ensuing, I reckon I'll be able to get this up, and I'll do a build video. I'll take my time with it because you need a good weekend or a couple of half days to put this together, don't you?
Well, I think I would split it into kind of 4 events. You can do all your elements. You can just get comfy with the pole and the plates. That's another thing you can do.
You're just flipping us off there for a minute. What was going on there?
And then the third thing you can do. Yeah, you got the plates, you got the pole itself, you got the elements, you got the radials. Now, I would leave the radials you got down with your classic. Have they buried themselves in the grass now?
No, so the grass, it's the grass in the backyard is more of a mossy type grass, so it doesn't really grow that much.
Okay,
especially over winter.
Well, it's up to you. You can either leave them where they are for another day, but if they're movable about, I'll pull them up, add them all to the 12.4, something like that.
Yeah. I know that when the wind blows, they go all over the place. But
we got those little pins now.
Yeah. One of the questions I was going to say, and a few people have asked me this before, is should you bunch your radials into one bunch, and then when they come out, they're nice and neat in a bunch, or do you actually physically spread all the individual wires out so that there's a nice coverage around the
I do the coverage bit. I mean, my first half meter, they come out in 8 or 12 actually rubber tubes, and then they fan out there. Mm-hmm. And I've got mine it is actually on a tilt-over base from a company called Barenco. I don't know if I've got a picture of that here, but...
the only concern I have really, it's not really the height of mine, it's more the case of if it falls over, I don't want it falling on the neighbour's side, which it's very easy to avoid doing that because you just put extra guys on the side that's opposite so that it doesn't fall that way.
Yeah, and just check, that's right, and then just... every 2 or 3 months, just check for any wear that might be happening on the guy. But if you're going in 2 points, then you should be all right. And just make sure the guy stakes are man enough. They don't pull out or anything.
We just use a couple of star droppers. We call them star droppers. I don't know what you call them over there.
I don't know what they are, no.
The metal stakes that you just knock into the ground.
Oh, okay.
For trees and things like that.
Okay.
For gardening stakes, yeah.
Fine.
Big metal ones. You were saying?
Waratahs?
Yeah, Waratahs. I think that's what you call them.
What did you call it, mate? A star dropper.
Star dropper. Star dropper, bro.
Star dropper, weird Australian. Let's see what Google says.
So Sean
it's
says...
Waratah. It's a Waratah.
Sean...
Dum-de-dum.
Oh, am I back?
Testing. Yeah.
Tell me that.
Yep.
I don't know. Was that StreamYard?
That was my end. No, it was
it
my
really?
End. Yeah, well, it might have been StreamYard. I was just saying that Sean is a local and he's ordered a DX Commander signature, which he bought today, and it's the nicest looking antenna on the market. So, yeah, good stuff.
He just bought it, last night?
That's what he's bought today.
Today, okay,
So,
fine.
Sean's a local here. Speaking of which, putting antennas on a metal roof and connecting the ground plane to the metal roof sheeting as a
People have
radial.
done it. People have done it. Yeah. On my Instagram account, there's a few guys that have done that. I've put the pictures up. Fascinating. Some of them have... I thought I didn't want a bigger head than you, Hayden.
Mine's pretty big.
Don't 1 kilowatt while streaming, says Beamy.
Actually, that's a good point. So, what's the power input of the? What's the power limit of the signature?
Put in what you want, honestly. Now, if you wanted over a kilowatt on above about 20 megahertz on FT8 or Whisper, then you need to QRO it. And I can show you what I mean by that, because Rowley and I have done some tests. I'll just find a little bit of paper here. So this book we're going to be auctioning for charity, just for fun. So if you bid for this and get it, you'll be able to find this picture.
You'll be able to get all of the original
so at the moment,
ideas.
Yeah, the top of the element does that, and we put a bit of heat shrink here. Just, tidy it up sort of thing.
Yep.
However, we create some heat just there, right? So to QRO it, and there's a picture of this, I think, on my Instagram account, is you strip the insulation, come back, solder it there, and then put your shrink wrap over this. And then you've got a closed loop and basically the wigglies.
How big is the loop at the top?
Inch, 30 mil.
Oh, okay.
No, just tiny loop. But just solder it back onto itself. That'll QRO it, as I call it. And then somebody tested that 1500 watts, I think, for 2 minutes, and nothing happened.
So on the signature, what's the fold back from the top? Because so on the classic with 40 meters, you actually go up and you come back down quite a fair way.
I might be redesigning this. I didn't want to tell you about it right now. But at the moment, the 40 meter and the 15 meter get their own element, right? Now all the elements are up. I've got a funny feeling I could 40 and 15 it now, back to how it normally is because I actually prefer the 3/4 wave. Unless you're down by the coast, you actually get a better pattern if you're down by the coast, like literally by the sea. You get a better pattern with a 1/4 wave. If you're on average good ground, you'll get a better pattern with a 3/4 wave. That's the way it is. So if I did that, that would free up a slot to have a dedicated 3/4 wave on 6, just for fun, But that's for another day. At the moment, it works perfectly, right? So that's fine. But, I've got little ideas like moving the 30-metre coil to make it a pair of quarter waves effectively on 20 metres, kind of collinear 20. We've got this 40-15 business. There's a few things, we can do. Or people at home can do. Then go, do you know what? Callum mentioned this. Good idea. I might give it a go. Oh,
yeah. So this is the thing with your stuff is you're always still constantly developing, and you're constantly developing and tinkering and trying to get other things right. And
I use my own product. I
Yeah.
actually use it and go out have my own little field days and use my stuff. Because it's not that I'm trying to do a show and tell. It's because it's the best thing I've ever found. So just use it yourself. I don't know any other CEO, right? CEO. A 3-man outfit. I'm the CEO. But anyway, there's not many manufacturers who... Well, I don't know anybody. There must be somebody who makes... a reasonably good product actually goes out and uses it because it suits them, Well, it suits me.
Yeah. How long did it take you to develop this one?
This was
from initial concept.
A bit longer than normal. It was getting on for 6 weeks. I mean, we'd go for a coffee somewhere, Wendy and I, and she'd ask me a question and I would kind of half answer and she would be like, "You just want to be back in that bloody field, don't you?"
You're thinking about that 12.4, aren't you?
Yes, right. I would randomly phone people that I thought might know an answer. So,
you're thinking about this again?
You and your bloody erections.
I know.
So I phoned Mike, M0MSN, James, M0YOM, Tom, M0RMY. I'd phone people, talk them through some enormous problem. Because they're in the thick of doing some work or something, and they're going, yeah, whatever, that might work. And I go, brilliant, you've been a great help. I think it was almost like a therapy session. And then you'd wake up in the morning, like at 5:30, and I go, oh, it's like this coil. Oh, wait a minute, I'll move the coil. I bet you the frequency will change. You go all over the internet looking for the maths of a third harmonic and how that is changed with an inductance coil. There's not even a paper about it. You just say I was in the dark.
Just
that
trial
was
and
my
error.
That was my PhD, Hayden.
Yeah. What? The trial and error PhD?
Well, that's right. Because, you just got to... Of course, once you've developed it all and you've explained your problem, some guy I've never seen before who never chats, some professor bloke goes, yeah, you'll find that, the square root of pi, and comes up with a load of Greek, basically. That I just don't understand anyway. I don't know about you, Hayden. I'm just a practical scientist, not a theoretical scientist. Chris, are you? I can think in quarter waves. I can think in. I know some of the theory, and I kind of go, do you know what? I know enough. Don't give me any more. I haven't got any more space in here. Are you the same, Chris? Are you a bit practical like that, or are you a theoretical man?
It doesn't take a whole lot of intelligence to be the smartest guy in this show, mate. It's pretty straightforward.
By the way, do you like the green screen?
Is that a green screen?
No.
There's a tiny green thing on your kick. But
who was it? I think it was it Tom, or I can't remember who it was on your stream that you had yesterday morning who had the green screen behind them. They were just copying your background.
Oh,
these are slightly quieter drumsticks.
Yeah.
But honestly, when I play, you would never know. I'm the same loudness. I'm too loud for most bands, actually, apparently.
Well, we're going to have a jam session because Chris has played Morse code on the guitar.
Haven't we all?
And why not? I mean, I've thrashed out SOS on that kit.
Yeah, buddy.
I can do da 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 da. That's the thing with my call sign M0M. C's nice one. Yes, dee 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 dee. You'd think, oh, is that beginning of a Q? Da dee dee da.
Well,
I know
thanks
my
for,
own call sign in Morse code.
Well, actually, I know mine as well. I just don't know anyone else's. We had this
There was a
discussion the other
guy
week,
years
didn't we,
ago
Chris?
sending
Yeah, we did.
very slow, reasonably slow code on like 40 or 80. And I thought, oh my goodness, I can actually work this out. I mean, I must have been, because it was slow enough, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I'll risk it. I've only ever had one CW contact, and this was it. M0MCX. And he comes back, same speed. M0MCX. I don't know, whatever. And his name was, nice, easy name. It was like Mark or something. And I could, I just knew all the letters. And he was from Swindon. And I'm really good with SWIND, right? O and N. Seriously. He gave me a signal report when I'm not very good with the numbers, right? So I just thanked him.
You just assumed it was 5'9".
Yeah, and I quickly switched the radio off and ran away. But I always remember Swindon. I can't believe. Thank God it wasn't Gloucester or something,
Yes.
But Swindon, I'm quite good with. If anybody's from Swindon and they want a CW contact with me, give me a shout.
You say no good with numbers. He was probably sending 73 to you for 20 minutes and you just wouldn't leave because you just thought he was having a chat with you. You're like, why is he sending 73 as my signal report?
Yeah, brilliant. It's like in a contest, you've given 72 to the previous number, to the previous guy.
Oh, yeah.
And then you've got to do 73. You got to give someone a signal, a serial number of 73. I always find that quite funny.
Yep.
73.
All right. Well, thanks for bringing us through that. One thing that we didn't mention, and I should have done it at the start. We've always forget it when it gets towards the end. So this antenna will do the 7 HF bands, except for not 160 meters. Won't do 160 meters.
It'll do everything 80 to 10. Everything 80 to 10.
But it'll also do 6 with a bit of a push of the tune of the
push of the tune. Yeah. And I have had a copy on 6 on FT8.
Yep. And it's unofficial. It's unofficial, but some people say that it works on 2 meters and also 70
the pattern.
centimeters.
If you've got a repeater a couple of miles up the road, sure, use it. But don't expect some amazing result.
No. Maddie B, this stream has reminded me I need to get myself a DX Commander. Well, they're in stock and they're ready to go, right?
Yeah. Now, important for my ZL and VK customers, I know you are smaller than the US in terms of numbers of people and everything else, but it still accounts for 5%. You are the third biggest country in terms of our turnover, and that 5% honestly makes a difference. So if I can grow that to 7, 8, 9, 10%, then Australia and ZL, that's fine. I've got Les on the phone. Les, I'm just streaming at the moment, mate. I'll call you back. There's Les. Right.
Is he the bloke from Swindon?
He was, Les from Swindon,
He's giving you the signal report.
So, yes, Australia and New Zealand, we have strategically decided that is an important market. And so it costs us a little bit more to ship to VK and ZL, yes, but we don't charge you the extra. So we make a little bit of a loss on the shipping, but there we are. And also with FedEx, we've got DHL we've used for 3 months at the beginning of this year, very successfully, by the way. We may move back to DHL.
Well, I remember when I got my Classic come via DHL, and when I got it this time, it was via FedEx, and both were pretty fast. They were within a week.
That's fine then.
Yeah,
good.
Within a week. Just a couple of super chats again. Maddie's one and Lionel as well. Great conversation as always, gents. Cow making antennas for sad apartment dwellers who needs to start making antennas for us sad apartment dwellers who don't have patios. We do a bit of a dance out whenever we get the super chat. So I hope you don't mind that, Cow. We'll get Chris moving.
I'll let you do that. That's absolutely fine. Good luck to you.
Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
good
is that
stuff.
over, right? Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah, it is over. It is over. So, thanks for getting taking us through that. If you want to go and get a 12.4 signature, I'll put a link in the description so that you can go and not a link in the description, a link in the chat, but I'll also put it in the description. M0MCX.co.uk is the website.
Soon to be dxcommander.com.
Oh,
It's
exclusive.
my new website, nearly ready. I wonder if I'll show you the front cover just for fun.
The front cover. Have you printed your
World
website out,
exclusive. World exclusive.
Need to zoom this in a bit. Well, how can I can't get rid of the URL. Oh, there we are. That's fine. Yeah, lovely. Yeah. Okay, done it. Yeah, so the new site is basically this. You'll have the Signature Series Classics multi-pack bundles. Multi-pack bundles. Poles only.
Multi.
Yeah. Guying rope solutions. Antenna wire. All the antenna kits you've ever wanted. So basically, this, and this. I put in one category. Spares, conversion kits, plates, specials, warranty poles.
Warranty.
And things like that. Yeah.
Good stuff. That
So,
looks very, very schmick. Very schmick.
The idea is supposed to be even easy for Americans to use.
Oh, there it is. Luckily, this time everyone is asleep in bed from the USA, except for Lionel and Plasma. But I'm sure that you were joking. There goes your other. There goes your USA cut of the of the sales now. But that's all right.
I get a funny feeling that the USA boys will know that's supposed to be a joke.
It doesn't matter anyway. They tuned out earlier when we said metric was better than imperial, so it doesn't really matter anyway. So.
I don't think we actually said that. I just said.
Didn't we?
I think I think what we said. Oh no, you said that. I didn't. I just said that if 4% of the world wants to carry on going down the inches and feet unit, that's good for me.
Yep. All right, we'll wrap up. Thank you very much, Cal, for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure for this special episode. We'll be back to our regular programming next week, of course.
Yeah, buddy.
Do you want to do what you do best, Chris? Say thank you to all of the supporters.
Chip, Phil, Bob, Paul, Andy, folks. Yeah, that's the Smoking Apes' other name. Ernest, Peter, VK2 Brad, Aaron, FUP Labs, Lee, David, Peter, Michael Nova, Jason, James, Kevin, Hayden, Tracy, Joel, Tio, Ham, Seth, Don, Russ, Ox, Steve, Good Game, Harry, Don, Steve, Sam, Hayden, Ben, Old Fart, not DMX. Hello.
Old farts.
Greg, so Wester, Christopher, Phil, John, Doug, Kevin, Shane, Hike, and Jordan Radio, L, Rad, and DNL.
It always gets you, that one. Always gets you, doesn't it?
1200 GSA.
Yes, thank you to all the supporters of the channel. Thank you very much again, Cal. We'll see you again, I'm sure, on the channel at some point. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see everyone next week. Bye for now.
Catch ya.
Bye for now.